Today's show, we're going to be talking about Lions news and rumors. We're going to get into a player personnel leaving the Detroit Lions, going to the Washington Commanders, why I'm not worried about it. The Detroit Lions free agency targets from Pride of Detroit, who they got going in there. The free agency period, when does it start, so you guys can get ready for it because it's coming up soon. Matthew Stafford talks about Dan Campbell. We'll get into that and pros and cons of the Lions bringing back Josh Reynolds. Let's get this thing going. If you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get a perspective from a fan like myself and former player like Herman Moore. Lions Nation Unite is awesome. Plus, we got a lot of other content creators that come in on our live streams. It's really fun. The Detroit Lions lost a player personnel. Lance Newmark, been with the team for the last couple of years, player personnel, finding talent. He goes to the Washington Commanders as an assistant general manager. Yes, we're losing talent here, and obviously, he's been with Brad Holmes. They've done a fantastic job. Why am I not worried? Because we got Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is the architect of this whole thing, and he's got a lot of good scouts that he believe in. Now, look, losing him, yeah, it's a little bit there. But we kept Ben Johnson. We got Eric Glenn. We kept like a lot of people on there here. So you're bound to lose somebody. So he goes to the Washington Commanders and try to help them out with their draft and how they acquire talent over there in Washington. I wouldn't worry if I were you. I wouldn't think it's that big of a deal. This is going to happen. When you're good at acquiring talent, people are going to start picking at your organization. That's what we did with the Rams. We got Brad Holmes, and guess what? Now organizations are going to look to the Detroit Lions to acquire that talent for them to get better in the draft. So are you worried about losing Lance Newmark? Let me know in the comment section. Y for yes and N for no. When does free agency period start? How about March 11? That's where you can go ahead and talk to the free agents and come to terms to an agreement. We will know right then and there who the Detroit Lions are getting. It's not official until March 13 at 4 p.m. We know this. We've seen it, but that's the free agency period, and the Detroit Lions can begin work. That's in less than 1 month. We're back into free agency. Isn't that crazy? Because our season was so long, we're not used to it, that free agency is right around the corner. And Pride of Detroit has a couple players that could be targets for the Detroit Lions. We're going to go through those targets here. And Chris Jones is on the list here. Interior defensive lineman, Kansas City Chiefs, disruptor, hell of a player. Now, look, if you get Chris Jones, you're going to be giving a lot of money to him. And you got to understand that Penei Sewell, Ada Hutchinson, St. Brown, Ali McNeil, all that. So you got to be able to get a contract to where you know you can bring your own talent here. I love Chris Jones. I would love somehow to get this guy here. He would make this interior so much better. You get pressure from there. Him and Ali McNeil, Ada Hutchinson, that would be ridiculous. If they did this, you're probably not going to get another big splash player like a Josh Allen, Danielle Hunter type of player. You could probably get one of them. He would be a massive upgrade to the defensive line, but you may have to worry about cap ramifications down the road. I'm going to assume Chris Jones is probably going to want a longer contract, and we tend to not do those long contracts. We'll see, but I would love it. We already talked about L'Jarius Sneed on my personal channel. He would be a good upgrade in the secondary. We need help opposite of Cam Sutton. Actually, we need help even with Cam Sutton, and we need to get a veteran and draft a guy. This is a veteran player. I don't think it's going to be a billion type of dollars. Yes, you're going to have to pay a little bit of money, but this is not a situation where you're going to have to dump a Brinks truck. He will come in here. He will be better than Vildor. He will be better than Harris. He might even be better than Cam Sutton. And then you can draft a guy first or second round to develop to be our CB1 of the future. But make no mistake about it, we got to get better this year. So you're going to have to get a veteran as well because it takes a little bit of time for corners. I like this one. Mike Danup, Michigan native here from Chippewa. Great there. 6.5 sacks. Pass fest, 13 QB hits. This is not going to be a big signing. This would be a depth signing, and depth is fine. I'm never going to have a problem with depth, but if you're looking for a big guy, that's not going to be it. Nick Allegretti, Another interior of the offensive line here. We don't know what's going to happen, and this is the big thing. This could be an option, Graham Glasgow or a Jonah Jackson. I think this is not the big solution. That obviously is in the draft, but you need to get players here. I think we bring back Graham Glasgow. I think we do. I don't know, but I think he could be a backup as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy that could be a starter. That'd be something you get in the draft, but you definitely need backups, so I'm not opposed to it. Just remember, some of these guys aren't the big names because in free agency, we don't do just big names. It's all around as well. Matt Pryor, another offensive line, interior, same type of situation. Let's go to Javon Kinlaw, who we've talked about on my channel as well. He would be good, younger player on the interior of the defensive line. I think he'd be a good complement to Ali McNeil. He's not going to cost you as much as Chris Jones. It's going to be down. He's got a high ceiling because he's young, and it would definitely be, to me, a good signing. I think it would be a good signing, just dependent on the contract. Cleveland Farrell. Yeah. Look, again, another situational pass rusher. You're going to lose Romeo. You're going to lose Charles. This is not going to be your bookend guy. This is not going to be the guy that's stopgap. If you do this, you're probably getting a guy in the draft. Or you're just use his backup and maybe get another Danielle Hunter type of that. But you definitely need rotation. Logan Ryan, DB, help in that secondary. We need help in a big way. Will Harris not going to be here. That's going to be a guy who's going to be gone. Jerry Jacobs may be gone. Logan Ryan could come in here and help out there. We don't know what's going on with the safety position. Will C.J. Gardner-Johnson be back? We don't know. But I'm fine with these guys. I would love to get, I wish Danielle Hunter was in this list. That's who I'd throw in this list for sure. That's okay. What do you think of this list? Who would you get in the comments below? Let's continue on. Matthew Stafford talking well about Dan Campbell. He says, no, I thought they were built for it. Now, you never know how far they're going to go, but the fact that they were a good team, and it didn't surprise me at all, Stafford said, their offensive line is really talented when they've got both backs going. Jared is playing really good clip, and it takes some emergence, right? That rookie class was really good. I'll put it up against, ours was great as well. Two of the teams that had success in the league, and a bunch of rookies that were playing the hype. Those guys show up the team for sure. You recognize it did well. Talking about Dan the Man. He says, he's from afar, seems like a player's coach. Guy loves playing for him. He's aggressive. He gets it. You feel your coach is putting the ball in the hands. I got a chance to talk to him before I left. He just wanted to talk to me a little bit, pick my brain on some of there and spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half talking to him. I came away, I was like, man, I don't know what this team's going to look like wherever, but he's an engaging guy to talk to. I think he's done a great job, and the media obviously does a great job in the locker room and cares a lot. Yeah, man, he definitely is, and I could respect Stafford saying this. You have to wonder, does he think about, man, I could have stayed in Detroit and built this team? Maybe not, because he did win a Super Bowl, but there's got to be a little bit of that in there. A little bit of, man, now the team's good because I'm not here. What do I do? And so just complimenting Dan Campbell and seeing this team's good, it's good to see. Look, I don't hate Matthew Stafford. When he does retire, I would like him to retire as a Detroit Lion. I would. He'd been here 12 years. We do got Jared Goff and all that, but, he won a Super Bowl in L.A., but he's a Detroit guy. So when he retires, come back to the Detroit Lions and, you do a one-day contract, end it in Detroit. Pros and cons of re-signing Josh Reynolds. I don't really want to go through this, but we could talk about it. There's a lot of pros in signing Josh Reynolds, and here's the pro. Him and Jared Goff, an elite connection. They know each other. They know each other's senses. They know where the ball is going to be. They are tight. You don't have to worry about chemistry. He is very good at blocking, and he's a physical aggressor, and he can play X. Those are really good things because right now you have guys like Jamison Williams and Khalif Raymond. So you want to have another guy that can at least be on the outside. And guess what? You have J-Mo on the outside. You can put him on the inside. That is a good thing. Also, he does catch a lot of footballs. I understand he dropped them in the NFC Championship game. So did St. Brown. So did Laporta. We had some drops in that game. But as you look at him as a wide receiver throughout his tenure as a Detroit Lion, really good. I like Josh Reynolds. I think he's a solid player. The cons, I don't know much cons. Maybe because you don't want to. Maybe you want to get younger, right? That could be a con. Getting younger. Another con could be, well, he did drop those balls in the NFC Championship game. Maybe he's not built for prime time. Depending on the contract, maybe he wants more. That potentially could be a con. But in all honesty, if you assess it, Josh Reynolds should be back to the Lions. I don't think it's going to cost much. I don't. I don't think it's going to cost $1 billion, anything like that. The continuity's there. I think they should bring back all the wide receivers, DPJ and Josh Reynolds. I would like to see them both back. It's a good unit. We don't need the biggest names in the world. We got guys who just gets it done. I don't care about names. I just want to get it done. I do. I want this team to go in the right direction. I'm sure he's angry he dropped those passes. You don't think he's thinking about this every day and he can come back next year filled with rage and ready to get to that level of play in a high game to make up for those losses. Another chance. And I think he'll be fine. I do. How is he? I can't just look at one game in the last 2.5 years and say this guy sucks, because that's not the case. He sucked in the NFC Championship game. But as a Detroit Lion, he's been good all around. I've been on his bandwagon. I like it. I like Josh Reynolds. He's a good 2-3, probably 3-4, whatever you want to put him. You got Cleef and J-Mo in there. It's a good piece. There's nothing wrong to have good pieces. There's nothing wrong to bring some of these guys back, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Would you bring Josh Reynolds back? Would you? Let me know in the comments below. Y for yes and N for no. You know your thoughts. Folks, make sure you go to lionsnationunite.com. They have some epic gear in there. A lot of shirts, balaclavas, sweatshirts, blankets, all sorts of memorabilia. Everything. It's lionsnationunite.com. lionsnationunite.com to get that gear. With that said, folks, adios.